What's up guys, OGP here. This is my Marvel Rivals here at Wishlist. I did a short one of these before. This is a much more in-depth and revised version of that. As always, don't forget to leave a like and make sure you comment what you want to see in the game. First up, Mysterio. Let him throw out copies of himself, and if the enemies shoot them, he gets buffs. Kind of similar to Alibi from Rainbow Six Siege, except instead of revealing their position, you get buffs from it. Let him throw out smoke. Similar to Valorant, it can block lines of sight. The more interesting part of the smoke, though, if you or your allies are standing in it, it blocks any auto-aim or lock-on abilities from targeting you. Throw down some smoke, and if you or your allies are standing in it, all of a sudden, Star-Lord ult, Psylocke ult, Namor turrets, things like that cannot hit you. It doesn't block any damage or prevent damage. You can still take damage in the smoke, but the main feature, being in the smoke, acts as a blind spot to any auto-aim abilities or ultimates. And last up, this might sound controversial, but for the ultimate, everybody on the map is turned into Mysterio and friendly fire is on temporarily. It's a great comic reference. If you know, you know. And it'd be something really different. It would shake everything up, to be honest. Next up, we got Dook, another Vanguard, another Spider-Man villain. You're noticing a trend. I promise it's just these two. He can climb walls similar to Venom or Penny. Let him use the robotic tentacles to block incoming damage. And the most fun part of this idea, let him throw parts of the environment. Destructible environments are a big part of this game. And I think it'd be awesome if it's Dook, you can just grab pieces of the environment and throw them at your enemies. You can also give him a CC or stun ability where he can grab them with his robotic arms. But to help make sure that the crowd control isn't too oppressive, you can make it so you can only grab lower health squishies. Meaning, say, any character over 300 health cannot be grabbed by his stun. That way you can use the CC ability to grab someone like Spider-Man who has a ton of movement, lock him down, teammates can get him. But if you're getting dove by, say, a Venom, you can't just immediately stun him and lock him down because that would just not be fun or fair. For Dook, I also have this idea that I'm not fully committed to, but I'll put it here just to hear your guys' thoughts. Give him two forms, varying strengths and weaknesses. The main difference is one of them, he is walking on the tentacles are lifting him, he's hovering above the ground. And one of them is he's just walking on his own 2 feet with the arms behind him, doing damage, blocking, doing whatever. You can make it so one form is quicker but has less health or less damage. The other is slower but has more health, more damage, etc. Next up, Nick Fury, strategist. He can have healing, buffs, inspirational speech that gives your teammates more damage. Maybe he can call in shield agents, similar to how Loki can call in his clones. In my previous video, I said his ultimate should just be a rocket launcher, which I still think is cool and should be an ability. But someone on stream gave me the idea of a helicarrier, and I think that is way cooler than what I thought of. The helicarrier hovers in a certain area, the enemy team can shoot it down. In terms of what the helicarrier does, I don't know yet, but I think it would just be awesome to see in game. And just imagine the visual. You're in the middle of a battle, it's a bright sunny map, all of a sudden the sky goes dark and you just look up and it's a helicarrier. That would be sick. You could have it work similar to a Juno ult from Overwatch, except instead of just being a beam that you don't know where it's coming from, there's the helicarrier up above and it's shooting something down, which is healing, giving speed boost, damage boost, whatever you want it to be. That way your team has to fight underneath the helicarrier to receive the buffs from it. Next up, I don't have many ideas for this guy. I just want to see him in the game. Cyclops, put him in. Obviously, I think he's got to be a duelist. I'm trying to brainstorm for strategists and vanguards because we need a lot more of those in the game, if we're being honest. But there's so many cool characters that would just have to be duelists that I'd love to see in the game. The only idea I have right now is his ultimate. He takes off the visor, does a gigantic blast, and it is OP, but it can also hurt your teammates. And the blast will just annihilate anything in its path, destructibles, enemies, allies, and that would also make it really fun because your teammates would have to get behind you before you use it, otherwise they will get damaged by it as well. Friendly fire is on for this. And even though you can make the damage for it extremely strong to the point of being overpowered, like I said, it'll hurt your teammates. And to pull it off, you'll have to have a duelist frontlining because if your teammates are in front of you, they're getting hit. Next up, I'm pulling from deep. This is a niche one, but I want weirder characters in the game. Penance. If you know Penance, I learned about him as a kid from Ultimate Alliance 2. I can see him working either as a Vanguard or a strategist. If he's a strategist, he can give health or buffs to his teammates, but to do so, he has to take away some of his own health, essentially punishing himself or damaging himself in exchange for buffing and healing his teammates. If you know the character and his lore, it's very accurate. Or make him a Vanguard, and the only way he can protect, buff, or shield his teammates is by absorbing damage from the enemy. For example, Magneto has a bubble shield that he can throw to his teammates as long as they're in range. For Penance, it could be a shorter cooldown, except for him to actually use it, he needs to absorb X amount of damage before it's usable. And maybe the more damage he takes, the stronger the shield will be. Next up, Juggernaut. Vanguard, obviously. His big thing is he just has a rampage charge ability that he can just run straight through any environmentals or destructibles. Let's say you're getting stuck in a choke point, you and your teammates can't get past it. You just run through one of the environmentals, go make a different route, and if your teammates go through that route within a certain amount of time, they'll get buffed health, buffed speed, whatever. The idea being that if you're willing to follow the Juggernaut behind his charge, you should get some speed or health for that and just run in with him. He would just leave a small path similar to what you see on Captain America when he's ulting. Next up, I was trying to avoid duelists like I said, but some of them are just too cool to pass off. Daredevil. He'd be an agile duelist very focused on melee with his batons and punches to hit people up close, and let him extend the billy clubs with the string in the middle so we can use that as a slightly ranged attack. And his ultimate ability should reveal enemy positions for him and his teammates, and the more the enemy is moving, the stronger this reveal is. That way, to counter your team essentially having wall hacks temporarily, the enemy team can stand still and reduce how much they're revealed, but if someone is moving a ton, running a ton, you can see them almost perfectly. That's all I got for the time being, but I'd love to make more of these. If you guys like them, please leave a like and a comment, and I'm happy to do more. But what do you think? Do you like my ideas? Are they terrible? Feel free to let me know. If you disagree with some of my ideas or you think the roles I picked should be different, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. But also, what do you think? What are your ideas? Don't forget, comment down below who you want to see in the game, your ideas for them, anything like that. I'd love to see them. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Bye.
Yo, I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come